다 최세 제약이 고마주 공라 아니 당저 벽에 나오지 같이 주나 삼스라 단다 드링 안 좋다 데 개성의 그게 불이지가 데이터 랩톱 총소가 되게 다 대단님도 안에 아무로만 라리아 아니 도질림 도시체 도질 렉선나야기 아니 니마 개발진 직차도 됐었네 드링 다시 베니마즈레 디인도잖아요 디 체도 다 갑티두기 개생의 그 브리지든 소백이 귤레 넘버 소체백이 드네텔야 차와주된나게 망고시오지요레 디게디기다 참물로 하루 버룬 나백이 좀 될 때네 드링아서도 진짜 좀 해야다 디 중벌에 안디나네 소치슈디 암로만 라브랑기다 슈사 또 미제 강자도지 미제 나기 망체와 슈사디 가서 강바디 나서 별이소리야 도스치제 별이지든소 지든소배 조간에 도스치지다 총유나우디 담믹세 템제 다 쇼지 유어디 당기 단다 테슬라기 소만나시 담보 니막 단다디 워싱턴 동호원제 급도네 디듀선 텔리에 직다 동호원제 차지나기 총도 소야라 소바디게디 망고지 아니 텔리야 나보다 다 텔리야 지금 점점 망분 나게 봐 진짜 당기 로윤 나 단다 테슬라게 송고도 지단에 년이만에 고대총 대점도 마세베 단다 아무로만라다 되네 크랑기 다 가소래 군대 대보 셰프 건남번이 다 가세네 주규 레스 마제베게 람망보 텔라 데디슈 종가 최대 세라체 세라메 되네 단다 암라 프랑스오나 징가규 게 촌에 라마데데 망고 대페나 요서래 다 디인도즈네 가세네 다 벼바다 저와 차 용주네 최저다 저와지 차야지다 아니 단다 대보 크랑기 공바이네다 암라 크랑기 공바이네다 디 추치세기 디네질이야 place of worship 지 암라 크랑디 송고도 디네질 규르토야 규리아디 크랑기다 미유 터투디 인스 안디 인도즈네 먼저 브리지든 소발에 두세지다 총주 슈바티기 당하나도 되나라 단다 경험을 체기 마첸 소레 나왔나 신기 벽이 최다 리숑 다벨 디네 칸스 voilà 다벨 칸 다벨 디네 칸 디 인도즈네 다 간다르 place of worship 직차디거래 가서 최다 리숑 다벨 낭사 최다 리숑 냐사 체세기 안 디네 내가 전부 차기요래 디 인도즈네 다 딘데직 낭토바디 다가스 직다 가서 그래 강번 여자 마인바 난 디낭로리다 자월랍 전부 주배지 나라저 표백만이 시아바지나 표기 미리 리숑 냐사치야기 다 디네 개천부 직다 아니 전부링 찔이야 펜백이 남바상게 비추 다베 당사스네면도 남바상게 베기추 냠셰 당사스네면도 간다 딘데기다 사지 사자 디네 개발도 파고 차디고 여바 손자 드네 단다 암라기 군데 대보 코라이네레 암라 코라이네레 되게 암라 코라인기다 나미년제 아니 조고조모 참물로기다 가서래 힐러 제와타도 줄대야지 그봐 덴데지 용되게 어디 뉴스네 다 드링 덴데기다 가서래 삼류 나올 하루여 반나시 힐러 삼바다도 줘버지 차디 원하나도 벼가져 있네야 데나로리아 브리지가 지여베디 킹기 베베리숑 베베추 안냠셰나야기 고갑지 여바 권하죠 있네야 아니 그 place of worship 직 마움바 상계 템바 타베나야타 아니 심젠 디기 준토야기 데데 공바셰바나신 줍토야 노르스 듀베이나 사실 종견나 윤견 원하죠 브리빈더서 있네다 비트나미스 아니 빈더서 있네다 하나도 참을로기다 렌디오다 투베기 다드링기다 부든 투베기 니머지스네면도 다 딘데지디스 디갈 총여로 봐 디인도스네다 페마스베게 다시비 니머지레 디인도스네 안에 개바상부시다 중 만화 딜랩토바타 안테아나시 만화저 자상기 아니 구셔저 긴주만 남부서 대들은데 주나토바디 나라 게리네다 나라저 자상기 모에네 도스치 자토바디 백개바상부이 안당기 계실라 계시 다르게라기 소만나시레 아니 당보다 대단 자와 차단으로 대양 얘기 Dalai Lama re gen gyume Khensur Rinpoche Lobsang chambala gen gi ta loma che ani kasu re gening gi tomba se re di Gyamju tomba she ya tu de she amla Quran ne pe ne gen kundu ne she nang bre ni gen da kundu ne ta gyume Khensur Rinpoche da dewa chaba ne sonde an de ne ta ta lugu kan le somba na she re ta gyadu shu mo che ti ndu zene ta tare godi yang kasu re part kasu tomar gewa parto gewa tamar gewa se na shinki de ne tashiba yabu shuji chonsong samsamchi samgudu ti ndu zene ani ngara to chamolo de tashibe ki nimo tesne mendu tashibe chawa tesne mendu antele ya jesu hirang naronas tishu ya che antene ta digi kasu re 먼저 기 내가 지금 고조야기 죽디 깨버려 모두 지기 내가 죽 디어 말아 the beginning end of a beginning red 모두 지기 beginning of an end 말아 디 인도전에 다 디낭로라 리숑 미냠 송지나야타 최다 리숑 미냠 컴페나야티 땅가 좀 못튀는 난 거야 지디 거대가 줄마 쉬쳐버시 땅에 이제 나왔지 가시 슈기니 So, before I start the teaching, I would like to extend my most sincere thank you to Amala. Amala for handing us your house to be used as the Tibetan community center, yeah. Community center for the Tibetan people, the Tibetan community here. It is indeed fate, there is a lot of similar traits between the Vietnamese community and Tibetan. The Vietnamese have been occupied by foreign power for a long time, many times. And the Tibetan people are also going through a similar trait. And wherever we go, I've been traveling quite a bit, and we were always very warmly welcomed by Vietnamese community in general. And especially Amala, as we all call you Amala. So that eventful day, eventful time when we met for the first time, even before we met, I have heard about you. I've heard about your generous deeds, benevolent deeds, helping many people around the world. About how generous you are to our monastery, Sera Mey Monastery. Everyone in the monastery, we know you as Amala. And not just that, you have been very kind and caring to a large number of HIV positive kids in your own country, Vietnam, as you just mentioned. And then to many other communities, organizations, individuals, basically anyone in need. You have been very generous. I've heard about that. And the first time I met you, and I heard about what you did, not in a boastful manner, right? But in a very truthful manner, very down-to-earth manner, when you narrated to me the whole story of how yourself and your late husband, Mr. Shepherd, were pivotal in bringing a large number of stranded community, Vietnamese people, into this country. So the first time I heard that, it was very inspirational, and it is still very inspirational to me. And if you remember, I don't know if you remember that I told you that very moment that I said, you are an inspiration for me, and you still remain an inspiration for me. at your age, even though your age is withering, your deeds are always pervading. And that is something very inspiring. And then yourself and many of your friends, such as Mr. Dong here, and your family members have been very kind and generous to the community. And your friend, Dr. Gary, was also very generous to our monastery. So I take this opportunity to thank all of you. And so what I was saying in Tibetan was that this is a moment of celebration. It is a victorious moment. This is victory. It is victory because the wishes of the Tibetan community as well as the wishes of the Vietnamese community, which you the Tibetan community which we represent, which I represent, and the Vietnamese community which you represent. As you said, as you mentioned, your late husband said that he wants this to become a place of worship. And we also want a place of worship and a place where we can keep our rich culture. And His Holiness very appropriately, very aptly named this center the Center for Center for Prospering Culture and Religion. Well, yeah. So this will be a place of worship, and this will be a place of worship for everyone, and this will especially for our Tibetan community, our Tibetan brothers and sisters. This will be a place where we can continue our lifelong traditions, our rich culture, such as passing the very rich Tibetan literatures, our very rich folk tales, folklores, our very special dances, and our very special customs we will be celebrating here. So it will be in this house that Tibetan heritage will live on. And in this house, the Buddha Dharma will prevail. So for that reason, it is such a victorious moment, and this place is a place of victory for both communities. And it is a win-win situation for everyone around. So when the Tibetan culture is based on what His Holiness usually says, helping others as much as you can. And even if you cannot do that, at least try to abstain from harming as much as you can. So this is the culture from which this is the culture that Tibetan, this is where the Tibetan culture comes from, right? It originates from this theme, this ethos. And Buddha Dharma, of course, it is certainly beneficial, helpful, effective to everybody. You can take the practice of Buddha Dharma as a Buddhist practice and use that vehicle to get over the ocean of samsara, cyclic existence, get over samsara and get to enlightenment. Or as a non-Buddhist, you can use that simply to calm your mind, to pacify your obtrusive thoughts, elusive thoughts, negative thoughts, emotions, actions, behaviors, everything. It is very rich, very powerful, very effective. And I don't have to mention it here, so everybody anyone present here is aware of that. So this is actually the result of many people, not just one or two. The committee members of the CATA, as well as Amala yourself and your friends and everyone around and everyone involved. So this is it is the fruit of labor. It is the fruit of love. It is the fruit of dedication, and it is the fruit of appreciating each other's, appreciating the positive qualities within each other. You see what is good in me, I see what's good in you, and then we work together, and this is the culmination, this is the result. So therefore, on this eventful day, it is very appropriate time to rejoice. So when I said celebrate, I'm not talking about just singing or that kind of thing. Of course, singing and crying, all these things are physical manifestation of a strong emotion within, and that strong emotion can be many things. But it should be based on appreciation. It should be based on appreciation. So when I said appreciation, it should be that, and that appreciation should come from love. So love for our culture, our religion, our community, basically ourselves, right? From that brims the whole activity, the whole, everything. So therefore, this is a very good time to rejoice. From a strictly Buddhist point of view, rejoicing in good deeds, either that of other people or that of yourself, is a highly effective practice of accumulating a great amount of merit. So when we rejoice in the good deeds that others have done, just like myself, it inspires people. I'm inspired by your good deed, your wonderful deeds. And when you rejoice in your own good deeds, that actually boost your confidence, your morale, and then your determination to walk further strengthens. So therefore, rejoicing in those good deeds is very important. So I would like to ask all of you to do that.